What up, YouTube Alayx? Come back at you with another SC Evo Complete cast. Today, it's going to be Brood War versus Brood War. So, for the remainder of this game, I will call these players Protoss and Terran, rather than like StarCraft 2 Protoss and Brood War Terran, which is what I normally do. Spawning on the top left-hand side of the map, it's our orange Protoss player, Zozox or Zozox. I'm not sure. We'll call him Zoz for short. Going up against his opponent, spawning on the bottom right-hand side of the map, it's our yellow Terran player, SickDieNT. We'll call him Sick or SickDie, depending on my mood. Now, if you're not familiar with this mod, this is the SC Evo Complete mod, which puts together the StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2 races in the StarCraft 2 engine. It is super sick, and I think this is my first one featuring Brood War versus Brood War. Normally, it's Brood War versus StarCraft 2, so I'm excited to be casting this game. Looks like Zaz actually scouting the bottom left-hand side. We'll see that there's nothing there, and immediately moves the probe to the right side of the map, the bottom right-hand side of the map. So, based on the angle that this probe is arriving, it's going to be walking along this cliff, or I guess floating along this cliff. We'll see if Sick notices this. I have a feeling the Marine may spot that, and based on the angle, this will suggest that the probe is most definitely coming from the bottom left-hand side. And this may actually trick our Terran player into thinking that his opponent spawned to his left. The probe does get denied entry to the main base and gets taken out by this very proud Marine. So SickDie should not rely on this information alone. And I don't think he will necessarily, but for sure, this probe scouted the bottom left-hand side. I almost said right-hand side. The bottom left-hand side and saw nothing. So there is a small possibility that SickDie thinks his opponent spawned on the left-hand side, on the bottom left-hand side, and feels like, hey, look, I don't need to scout, but us, the omnipresent beings that watch these replays, know otherwise, and saw that that was actually an early scout. We have an early Dragoon also walking towards the bottom right-hand side. Is this going to be a two-base all-in? Both players took their natural bases, so this isn't any sort of proxy, but I have a feeling, I have a feeling we're seeing what is going to be a two-base all-in coming from our Protoss player. Now, to be fair, I don't know the meta for Brood War at all, and especially in the StarCraft 2 engine. Singularity Charge is finished. Now, Singularity Charge, as far as I know, I actually have to do some research. Leave a comment below if I'm wrong. I believe it increases Dragoon range by like 1. So that may actually allow the Dragoons to outrange the bunker, and I think they do. There's no siege mode yet. Siege mode is just about done. 10 seconds away. So we'll see 2 Dragoons against what is about to be 1 siege tank and a bunker full of Marines. The Marines actually leave the bunker and start chasing the Dragoons away. That was a great move by SickDie, actually, repairing it at the same time. Siege mode is done, so this Terran is now, I want to say, officially turtled. We have 3 Dragoons kind of just chilling at the front door of the natural base, but there's no way 3 Dragoons break this. There has to be more going on. We do have leg augmentation, I believe is what this upgrade is called. Now, what this does in Brood War, this doesn't give Zealots charge. This is a Zealot leg upgrade, but this does not give them charge. What this does, it increases their movement speed by 60%, and I want to say their attack speed by 10%. We also have what are going to be DTs, and there's no detection at all. Oh no, is there a starport? Where's the starport? I don't think there is a starport, so this is going to be really unfortunate. The only way that Terran will be able to defend against the DTs is to build a comsat station, but he does not have a comsat station. He does have a starport, actually. It is on the bottom kind of right-hand side of his base. So with this control tower and what other tech? The science facility. With the science facility, he'll be able to build a science vessel, which will allow him to detect the DTs. But the DTs, are they already done? They're already done. Oh no, and there's no comsat station, which means there's no scans. The comsat station is an extra building, and it's like an extension for the command center. So this is going to be brutal. Oh no. Oh no. Now, you guys, I haven't done a cast in like 5 days, and I already feel rusty. But you know what? We had like deadlines at work. I just did not have the energy, but we back, boy. We back with some StarCraft casting, and I am stoked to be here. And the DTs make themselves known, but what I would do immediately is just run. I would just run into the Oh, what? Okay, I was gonna say I would run into the mineral line, but what I think we just witnessed was a spider mine targeting its own unit and using the splash damage to take out a couple of those Dark Templar. We still have 2 Dark Templar on the field in the middle of the yellow base. There is a big SCV evacuation from the natural base location. Run these things away, bro. How many workers killed? 5 workers killed so far, 8 workers killed actually, but it looks like 10 workers killed, but a lot of this is friendly fire, so workers killed is technically 5 by our orange Protoss player, but our yellow Terran player took out like half of the workers lost. That is actually hilarious, but you know what? That was a valiant attempt at keeping his SCV safe, and I think it was worth it. The science vessel is finally out. Oh man, what do we have here? So we have the Zealot legs already done. We have what is going to be Terran vehicle upgrades finishing up in just about 5 seconds. And this is absolutely, I want to say a 2-base all-in, but at the same time, on the mini-map, we see what is a 3rd base coming down for our orange Protoss player. The science vessel doing a great job at keeping itself alive, or should I say, SickDieNT doing a great job at keeping his science vessel alive. But this is a lot. How many workers killed? 17 workers killed at this point by our orange player, plus the 5 killed by the friendly fire from those spider mines. Oh man, it looks like Zoz is floating a ton of money, but to be fair, a lot of that is probably micro, at least micro in the earlier part of this engagement. We do have what are 3 command centers though, so the game is not necessarily over. Oh, what was that? Oh, okay, for a second, I heard, okay, you know what? I heard the spider mine, and then I saw an explosion right here, and I thought there was a spider mine I missed. But no, I love the positioning on these spider mines as well. The Vulture is kind of a goated unit. The spider mines are just outrageously insane where splash damage is concerned. The only issue is there is that friendly fire. So if you pull a spider mine towards the main army of the Terran, that would be a bad time for the Terran. What do I see here on the map? Are we going to see, like, what is this? A triple expansion? Are you kidding me? I mean, he has the money. He's got 1,800 minerals. What is the worker supply? 57 workers to 35 in favor for our orange Protoss player. I feel like he could just push out and win. Okay, you know what? I say that, but army supply is relatively even. 26 to 20 plus all the splash damage in the main base for the Terran player. Yeah, maybe he would be able to hold it. This DT trying to do something. But the science vessel, there's actually 2 of them now. That science vessel, the 2 science vessels will be able to spot the DT. And just as I said it, we have what is going to be 3 bases coming down behind this. That is outrageously hilarious. Wait a minute. Oh, that's interesting. I did not know that. I don't know if that's intended or not. Let me know in the comments below. For those of you who are familiar with Brood War, also, by the way, the animation of the Zealots, that is super sick. Are you kidding me? Of all the places to scan, he scans the top right-hand side and misses all those bases. Okay, you know what? That's insane. He scanned this right-hand side and saw nothing and doesn't realize that there's an army right here. 1-1 is about to be finished. 1-1-1 actually for the Protoss player, and the Terran player missed all of this. That is hilarious. Now, I just lost my train of thought, but let me know in the comments if spider mines can detect cloaked units like DTs without detection, because that DT triggered the 2 spider mines and lost its life, which is actually crazy. That would make the Vulture a super sick defensive unit. Oh, that was a cheeky placement on that spider mine on top of the Protoss army, or I guess Protoss like strike force. This is hardly an army. It's like, what, 5 zealots and 1 dragoon? And are they really running towards the yellow side of the map? I think they are, but this is actually great placement. I love this. The siege tanks on the high ground and the spider mines on the low ground. There is nothing this army can do without an observer. We need an observer on the field. Do we have an observer all the way? No, we don't. We do have what are going to be High Templar, but going up against like a tech-heavy army, I'm not so sure if I would go High Templar, but also looking at the resources, I understand why Zoz is going for the High Templar. A few straggling Vultures do go down, but it looks like they spotted what was this Nexus on the top kind of like middle right-hand side of the map. But did our Terran player spot these two bases? Yes. So he spotted one of the bases, but did not spot this sneaky base kind of on the bottom left-hand side of the map. That's hilarious. So the territories are moving in favor of our orange Protoss player. He has what is going to be so many bases. How many is this right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bases to 3 bases. Worker supply, though, really not that bad. 67 workers to 55. Slight lead for our orange Protoss player, but really nothing too crazy. Army supply, though, is way in favor of Zoz. 68 army supply to 38. Now 78 army supply. That's actually outrageous. Doing a good job at spending his minerals, but overmining just a little bit on the gas. And we've got a shuttle as well. This is going to be interesting. Now the shuttle, it will be able to pick up units, but it cannot warp in units. So I'm not really sure what the purpose of that shuttle was. The shuttle actually relatively tanky. Will go down to these Goliaths. And here we go. We have the High Templar. Yes, they will be able to throw some feedback on the science vessels, which isn't bad at all, but up against Tech, Storm is kind of useless. We do have Storm on the way. What are our upgrades at? 2, 2, and 1 shield for the Protoss player. We have 2 vehicle attack, and that's it for the Terran player. What's being produced right now? We have 1 vehicle armor upgrades for the Terran player as well. These Vultures doing a great job at scouting around the Vulture, man. I love that unit. And this is such a cool composition, man. This is so cool. I love the look of the science vessel. It is super sick. We have a scan being thrown down. He will see that there are more gateways on the field, kind of in the middle of the map. They may become easy targets later on in this game. These Vultures forcing kind of an evacuation, but will ultimately go down. 5 workers did get killed, but I don't know if it was worth an entire strike force of Vultures. And we've got the Scout as well. The Scout is such a cool Protoss unit. Has ridiculous anti-air capabilities, but it also does shoot down. So this will give high ground vision for the Protoss army, along with all these observers. The siege tanks on the high ground will go down. A storm being thrown down on one of these siege tanks. And these High Templar are actually doing way more work than I expected, but these Goliaths just tanking the storm. Tanking the storms of these High Templar. Oh, a great hit on those SCVs that are backed into the corner. We do have the Arbiter, which will be able to cloak some of these Protoss units. This is actually ridiculous. Archon's being warped on the back of this. These SCVs trying to run away. 15 SCVs killed in this engagement so far. 39 killed total by our Orange Terran player, plus the 5 that were friendly fired earlier in this game. This command center may go down, and it will go down. The SCV that was trying to save it will get killed as well. The Archon ultimately going down, but now our yellow Terran player is stuck on 2 bases, and we have so many bases for our orange Protoss player. It's actually outrageous. It's hurting my face. It literally hurts my face how many bases the Protoss player has, and I'm a Protoss player, man. I swear to God. But all is not lost for the yellow Terran player. Look at the army supply. 79 to 55. Yes, it's in favor of Zoz, but not nearly as intensely as you would expect based on what we just saw. So our yellow Terran player is doing a great job at macroing despite the situation he's being put in. This command center is going to be built on the Comsat station that somehow survived all of that, which is hilarious to me. Army supply, though, way in favor of the Protoss player. 115 army supply to 46. Level 2 vehicle plating will be finishing up here shortly for the Terran player. 3-3 is now finishing up, or I guess 3 attack and 3 shields finishing up for the Protoss player. And I love the Arbiters, man. The Arbiters, what the mothership should have been. It literally, you can build multiple of them, and it cloaks your units. It's so good. It's actually outrageously good. But the Arbiters, which actually have like kind of like a tickle cannon anti-air, I don't know if they shoot down. I think they might. Do they shoot down? Yes, they do. So this is basically a flying tickle cannon with with cloaking ability. That is so cool, but they do not cloak each other. That would be outrageously OP. That would be so OP. It would actually, I don't know. I think I would quit casting if that was the case. No, I wouldn't. I totally wouldn't. I'm just joking. A forced scan. A forced scan on those two zealots. That's actually outrageous. I paused because I thought somebody was knocking on my door, and I'm alone right now. Nobody's in my house. So for a second, I thought my house was haunted, which is why I paused, but I think it was the music. But if somebody's in here, you know what? I'm not going to stop casting. If they come in, you'll hear me have a scuffle. That would actually be hilarious. Maybe that would make my video viral if I was going through like a house invasion while I was casting. That would be so funny, but I'm also kind of scared now. Not going to lie, I'm kind of terrified. Cloaked zealots, I love this. I love this. Also, if you didn't know, because some people who watch my videos didn't know that the mothership was nerfed, and now the cloaking ability is a spell. It's not a passive, which I think is so dumb. The mothership needed a buff, not a nerf. A lot of these spider mines doing so much damage to the zealot strike force, but we have what are going to be Protoss units everywhere. These poor observers will go down. The arbiter goes down. This one running away, but there are so many bases for the Protoss player that it does not matter. He does have 79 workers to 59, so this Terran player is still in this. Also, look at the army supply, 58 army supply to 66. Our Terran player's actually ahead in army supply. That is wild. That is wild. To be fair, I don't know what ranks these players are in, and I don't know what the rank difference is, obviously, if I don't know what rank they're in. But leave a comment down below what rank you think these players are in. I'm going to guess like Diamond, maybe like D3 or D2 is my guess. Also, to be fair, we should show these players some grace because this is the farthest from vanilla that you can get. Not necessarily the farthest. There are some custom races out there, which I cast a lot of, but this is not vanilla. This is StarCraft 1 in the StarCraft 2 engine. So it's possible both these players are just kind of learning the meta, but know how to macro. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. Also, one thing that's interesting is I'm pretty sure in vanilla Brood War, the engineering bay is a grounded structure. I don't think it can fly. And this looked like, this little red dot actually looked like a nuke, I don't know, laser sight. That's so interesting. So let me know in the comments below also if the engineering bay doesn't fly in vanilla Brood War, because I'm starting to gaslight myself. I'm like, hey, look, I'm pretty sure this thing isn't supposed to fly, but I'm looking at it flying, and I don't know if I'm crazy. But it's entirely possible I'm crazy. Also, I think we're good. I don't think I'm being home invaded. All is quiet right now, but I will go downstairs after this cast just to make sure nothing's stolen. Now, this Arbiter, its cloaking field is so big. I think it's probably about a pylon's worth of distance. We have a ton of scans coming down. So, our yellow Terran player will see that there are some bases for our Protoss player. Our Protoss player bases, bro. He knows what's up. So, yellow kind of knows what situation he's in, and he's being passive right now. He's playing passively, but I also understand why, because he's being forced to sit on his back foot. The Arbiters do go down. This is so many Dragoons, but we have the siege tanks on the back of this, actually forcing the Dragoons to back off. Army supply almost identical, 86 to 86. It's actually now identical. Worker supply still in favor by 20 workers, 79 to 59 in favor of our orange Protoss player. But army is now starting to dwindle for the orange player. These siege tanks are just too strong with their splash damage. What the orange player should think about doing is maybe walking around, but at the same time, dude, the yellow side of the map is literally a minefield. Look at all the mines on the left-hand side. That is insane. The Dragoons being forced back. We have I think it's called the defensive matrix or the defense matrix on a couple of these units, on a Goliath and what is a siege tank as well. We have 3-3 finish for the vehicles for the Terran player. 3-3-3, 3 attack, 3 shields, and 3 armor for our Protoss player. All these Dragoons walking into the minefield. That was so many Dragoons that just went down. Luckily, the High Templar are literally too slow, and will survive, but the army supply is now 66 to 89. We also have what is 89 worker supply for Zoz to 58 for the yellow Terran player. It looks like we have what is finally going to be a 4th expansion, and we have so many spider mines being placed in the middle of the map. To be fair, these players may not know the meta, so Zoz may not really know what to do against all these spider mines. And we also don't have, do we have an observer with this army? No, we don't. So Zoz really needs to put an observer down. I almost tripped over my words, because if you're slow, if you pace yourself and you get a good engagement on those spider mines, the Dragoons may be able to kill the spider mines before. Oh man, that was a bit of anti-micro right there. Negative micro. A few of the storms falling on top of those High Templar. But what I was saying is, if you have an observer and you have the Dragoons with their range, they may be able to take out some of those spider mines before they can detonate. We also have what is interesting here. We have a pylon being thrown down in the middle of the map. There's no warp gate, so I don't really know what this is for, unless there's going to be a shield battery being placed kind of in the middle to reinforce this army. But the shield battery is different in Brood War than it is in StarCraft 2. You actually, I think, have to physically select your shield battery and choose what unit is going to get healed, but it looks like Zoz is not actually doing that. We also have what are going to be so many bases, literally the left-hand side, the entire left-hand side of this map is now under Protoss control. Good spot on that missile turret. It will go down. The one Dragoon, I think, trying to bait maybe 1 or 2 spider mines. We absolutely need an observer, bro. There's no reason to not build an observer. And what's on the production tab? We also don't have any observer. What's the supply at? Zoz has the supply for an observer. It's 195 army, or sorry, 195 total supply for our orange Protoss player. I almost call him a Terran player. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but I almost called him a Terran player. The rocks. Looks like Zoz is beefing with the rocks. He's like, you know what? These rocks looked at me funny. We're going to take them out. We're going to take them out. There is a scan on top of this army, but he will see our Terran player will see that this is not the entire Protoss army. So there is some orange units somewhere else on the field. Looks like these Vultures trying to snipe a few of these Protoss units and actually doing a great job. A bit of friendly fire right there, I feel like. A Storm on top of these mech units, but Storm isn't necessarily what you want, man. Storm is not going to do enough damage to these Goliaths. What I would do is maybe get a few more Zealots because they have the legs. At the same time, I understand why he's not going hard on the Zealots is because there are a lot of siege tanks. You basically just don't want to engage this army. This army is really slow with the need to siege up. So what you do is you just walk around and force the Terran player to unsiege and move around. That's exactly what you should be doing. It looks like Zoz, though, is kind of hyper-fixated on attacking this army. And what is this? Oh, we have Valkyries. Super sick. This is the first time we're seeing them on my channel with this mod. This poor pylon will go down, but it's taking way too long, and it's being attacked by, like, 3 Goliaths. These Zealots, it looked like, did go down to some Spider Mines and to some Vultures and Goliaths as well. The army supply, though, is in favor for our Terran player, and I would have not expected that based on how this game has been going. To be fair, the Protoss Brood War Storms are really good, but Storms versus Mech is just not the move, man. But these Goliaths forced to run back to the support of these siege tanks, and now we have what is all the bases, literally all the bases except for the right-hand side, are taken by, by the Protoss, and there is an attempt with the command center right here, which I didn't even notice. So this Nexus will go down. A lot of these bases I feel like aren't mining, though. Okay, a few of them are. What do we have here? We have 7. We have 7 carriers on the way. I wasn't paying attention to the production tab. So, carriers are exactly what you want. Yes, there are Goliaths, and they are decent anti-air. But, there's a lot of anti-ground right there as well. So, for the Terran player, you have the Vultures, the Spider Mines, the Siege Tanks. All of that shoots down. So, that's a great tech switch. And I can't believe this. The scan on the base that doesn't exist. There is a scan right here, which actually does spot the Stargates. We have the Valkyries, though, and as far as I know, I don't really know, actually, if the Valkyrie is good anti-air. I feel like it must be. Oh, wow. 3 Stargates depowered by these Vultures. That's actually huge. That is going to be 3 less carriers to worry about. We have what is going to be a strike force of Zealots, but they do get scanned. How many carriers are on the field, actually? Taking a look, we have 7 carriers on the field. But unfortunately, the Vultures do not do a lot of damage to buildings, so these Vultures will go down. We have to see a pylon here ASAP. And yes, here we go. We have 2 pylons being placed on these 3 Stargates, and these 3 Stargates are super important. What's the supply at? 175 out of 200 for our Protoss player. We have some Zealots running around, actually taking out a few siege tanks, so that's not bad. We have a big engagement on the middle right-hand side of the map. We have what are going to be the Valkyries, which are doing so much DPS. We have the Storms on the back of this. This is, I feel like, too many Goliaths, so the carriers do go down, so the tech switch was a good attempt, but there's just too much anti-air right now. The carriers will go down, but look at this. The entire map is occupied except for this base, and I feel like Zoz, he's gonna try and take it, man. The guy's an animal. The guy's an animal. He's like, hey, look, I gotta expand everywhere. I have to have all the territories in this game. We're at 27 minutes in. What is the army supply? 110 to 117 in favor for our yellow Terran player. Worker supply 89 to 41 in favor of Zoz, technically, but I mean, the macro from SickDieNT has just been phenomenal this game. Being able to come back from the early game is actually ridiculous. Yes, Zoz is still in this, but I feel like Zoz's engagements just are not ideal. Look at the animation of those Valkyries. That is insane. So they clearly have ridiculous anti-air. This carrier is going to melt. It goes down. We have an engagement in the middle of the map, which is actually coming out in favor of our orange Protoss player. Oh man, this is chaos. This is absolute chaos. There is madness everywhere. Is that a siege tank? How many kills does that have? 8 kills on that siege tank. Looks like they are moving in towards this right-hand side. The probes trying to actually do some damage here. Will they be able to take out a siege tank is the question. This siege tank actually not sieging, which is a great choice by SickDieNT. Will be able to take out these probes, I feel like, but then it looked like he actually started focus firing what were the pylons powering up those Stargates. Zoz really has to just like stack his army. He has to hit with all his units together. Oh man, no way. Looks like the Goliaths may go down. We have the Valkyries on the back of this though. The carriers going down. This is actually insane. So many units going down for the orange Protoss player. Now we're looking at what is 80 army supply to 137 in favor of our yellow Terran player SickDieNT. And one of the siege tanks actually does go down. But what I would do is maybe just attack this siege tank. But Zoz saying, good game, well played, giving the victory to our yellow Terran player. What a wild comeback. That one was awesome. If you guys enjoyed what you saw, please consider subscribing to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you want me to cast any of your own games, I will leave my Discord and email in the description below. And I'll see you guys on the next one.